All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to Railway Empire 2, Scenario 12, across Germany. This is part 1. We're starting a new scenario, number 12, and some of you may remember that we had another 12 out there, part 1, and I have taken it down. It was so bad. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed to have that out there, and naturally it got quite a few views, so I apologize to the 1,100 or so folks out there who watched that episode. It sucked. I have taken it down. This is a redo, and I haven't played the scenario, just that starting part, so we're going to play it again right now and see if we can do a better job. We're going to use the entrepreneur. We're going to try to learn from the mistakes that we made in the last one and try to do a better job with this one.
Railway expansion at the state level. Many politicians are confident that we can bring explosive changes to the German Confederation, very much like it can be seen in America and the United Kingdom already. Our first task will be to provide a continuous east-west connection in the kingdoms of Prussia and Hanover. Several parties have joined forces to provide the initial capital, including the Kingdom of Prussia itself, of course, but also the Grand Duchy of Saxony-Weimar. I have already spoken to the various partners and taken note of their initial wishes.
All right, so while he was talking, I looked at the research, and also now I'm setting up the personnel. She gives us a 5% start on that efficiency. So all we have to do is double the training for each person, and we get the full 125% benefits, more security, freight and mail bonus, passenger bonus, faster trains, and more reliable trains. Not bad. So we're looking at the map here. We've got $1 million, or a million marks, I guess it would be, a million marks worth of bonus out there. And we're going to go out and get those first. So we're going to set up direct lines from Berlin to Magdeburg, Magdeburg out to Hanover, Magdeburg down to Weimar, and Berlin over to Zelina Gora, and Zelina Gora over to Breslau. And what we're going to do is have lines that are dedicated passenger mail lines with a dedicated track and dedicated platforms on each end for each train, for the train. And these cities are small. One train will be plenty. And we're going to set them up in an unusual way compared to what we've done in other times. Now, I'm going to have a setup where we're going to have restaurant and market hall in one city. Then the next city will have a restaurant and maintenance. And then the next city down the chain will have a restaurant and market hall, and on and on. We'll alternate that sequence. So we'll try to, and we're going to set these up so that we get a lot out of our maintenance halls wherever we need, our maintenance depots, wherever we need them. Okay, so here you can see I just put a restaurant in Magdeburg. We'll go back later and put the maintenance in. Right now we're going to run without it. And we're going to set up these guys as automatic lines. Now this is different. Automatic lines running our Iron Duke with the wagons, but on each of the lines we're going to tell it to prioritize passenger and mail. And then if you have room and the target city that you're going to needs the goods you are producing, by all means fill up your train with those and take those as well. So our goal here is to have trains that are full or very close to full all the time, and with priority on passenger and mail. And we're going to prioritize having passenger revenue bonuses because of our character. We want to get as much as we can out of our character. And we'll look down the road and potentially set up special stations for the mail so that we can make more money on mail. But we'll see how this goes and see what we need for as far as revenue. The main thing is wherever we can, we want these trains as full as we can have them, but we really do want passenger and mail revenue, right? So that's the goal. So you can see me just going through opening up each of the regions where the bonus cities are and setting up those lines, dedicated lines. So if a city happens to connect to two places, it'll need two platforms. If you're on the end of the line, you're only going to need one, like here in Breslau for now. And that's the way we're going to do it. You'll see that over and over. And I'm not going to explain it all the time. You guys know what's going on by now. So that's what we're up to. And I'll be back after we kind of get all that running to talk about what we're going to do next. As soon as we run out of money, we're going to issue the second biggest bond we can and then the biggest bond we can. We found that to be the way to get the most money right up front. We want all the initial funds we can get. So we spent all our $2 million. We're going to maximize our bonds so that we have as much money as possible. And then all that is going to be used to create the opportunity to get all 5 of those bonuses to give us another $1 million marks to work with as we go forward. Now here's an example of how by having those, the way the maintenance posts are going to work out, or maintenance depots. In Magdeburg will be maintenance, but because we're running further west out to Hanover, and also we're going to run south to Weimar from Magdeburg, then we're able to put the double bonus station extensions in Hanover and Weimar and get both the lines, the Weimar Magdeburg and the Hanover Magdeburg, serviced out of Magdeburg. So we've already gotten 2 of our bonuses. We got 3 more to gather, and we're taking a look here to see, okay, well, our first task is to get those 6 goods into Berlin. Now, the way it works out, Berlin has 4 right now. So if we can get 2 more in there right away, then we will get that task done quickly. And what we've got here is if we can connect up here to this Mecklenburg-Schwerin area, then we've got timber and sugar up there, and that's 2 things that these towns need early on that Berlin right now is lacking. So we're going to put in a freight station up here to the north of Berlin, and then we're going to connect it up with the timber and the sugar. Now, the way this works in terms of what they need, a small town needs 0.4 timber and 0.2 sugar. So it's really a 2-to-1 ratio of the timber to the sugar. And here I realized I haven't put a train on the station. So I got this train, got this train all set up and forgot to put a train on it. So I'm correcting that mistake. So I'm going to have to wait and get a little bit of money to correct that. And that's a big goof because that's another bonus. That's the Hanover connection bonus. But anyway, once that's done, once that's running, then that'll get us some more money. And whoa, some of those, boy, you get down close. Yeah, one reason I don't go down too close when I'm making videos is the noise from the system gets really loud, and I'd have to do a whole bunch of editing, so I just avoid it by not going down there. So anyway, now here's what we're going to do. We're going to connect up a line from the timber into this station in Berlin, but we're not going to run a train on it yet. We're going to get it set up, and then we're going to go ahead above it to the north, go up to the sugar, put a station there, and set up that line. As I was started to say before the Hanover thing, we got a 0.4 to 0.2 ratio of timber to sugar demand in Berlin. So we'd like to have a 2-to-1 ratio. Now we've got 8 wagons to work with, so it's a little clumsy to try to get 2-to-1. So what we're going to do is go 3 to 5. We're going to say, okay, up there in the sugar, I want you to have a maximum of 3 wagons and a minimum of 3. So you have to load 3 sugar, and then you're allowed to go on, but you can't load any more than that. So now 3 sugar will go down to the timber hookup. And at the timber, we say, okay, I want a minimum of 8. So I want you to fill up, and a maximum of 8, meaning you can go ahead and fill up your wagon with the timber. So there you saw the 3 and 3, and now here's going to be the 8 and 8, and that will give us 3 sugar and 5 timber heading into Berlin. And when that train hits Berlin, that will knock off that task. And we can just keep running that train for a while and just keep Berlin supplied with sugar and timber as we continue to grow. And then when we decide that we want to get into big time city growth, which we know is coming, it always does, then we'll look into how we might want to modify that line or change it or route it somewhere else, whatever, put in warehouses, however we want to do it in order to accomplish our city growth.
I see you haven't neglected to finance our own company while fulfilling all those lofty goals. Very good.
Okay, so there we just got our weekly revenue. That was just a matter of having a train arrive somewhere and get us a bonus. So that one you're going to get pretty early, regardless. So now we're going to set up for the task after the 6 goods in Berlin, which is the 60 passengers going from Hanover to Berlin. So what we'll do with this one is we'll set up the line and we'll set up a train going down there, and we'll do it as express only. This will be a little exception to what we've been setting up. We'll do it express only, and what we'll do is set it up to say, okay, run full. And then we're just going to watch it. We're going to babysit it, and as soon as we have 60 passengers in the passenger portion of that run full, we will change the line and say you don't have to run full, but that will release the train and let it run to Berlin, and we'll quickly get our 60 passengers down to Berlin. Now, Hamburg will be a maintenance depot, so it'll have maintenance and a restaurant.
People in Berlin are having a great time with the new connection. It is important that we take good care of Prussia's capital, as it is one of the most important cities in the German Confederation.
Okay, and that message was just telling us that we got our six goods at one time down to Berlin, which means that our little freight line has completed its first run. So we're checking out how many passengers. We've already got 69 in there. That was quick. So I'm going to reset it to minimum of 0 and let it go, and it will take off. And those 69 passengers will end up getting dropped off in Berlin, and that will finish off another task. So that'll be 3 down. And now we've got to get this Hamburg, Berlin, Danzig thing. And Danzig is way up here to the northeast, and we need access to it, and we need to lay a lot of track in order to be able to get that set up. And you can see right there, our trains are making pretty good money, pretty good weekly income from most of our trains.
Faster than our backers thought possible. With this step, the main Prussian cities of Berlin and Hamburg are connected. Good work.
And that's the message telling us that we just finished that Hamburg to Berlin thing. I'm actually going to delete the line because, well, you'll see the main reason. What we're going to do here is we're going to make that big line out to Danzig. And remember, our rule is when we can, if the cost of an investment is greater than the cost of closing a bond, we close the bond and open a bigger bond so we have more money to work with. And that's what we just did there. We closed out a bond, opened a bigger bond, and now we've got enough money to go ahead and lay this track from Danzig, open the access to that region and lay the track. And it just so happens there's 2 other regions there that we're kind of going right between, but there is a narrow strip there that you can lay track in between Danzig and Berlin that goes right between those other 2 regions, and that way we can get this thing done. So now once we have that track built, then what we're going to want to do is set up a line that will go to all 3 cities. Now, I don't like the 3 city lines as a rule, so this to me is kind of throwaway work, but it's just to get this task done. So we're going to have Hamburg, Berlin to Danzig to Berlin, right? We're not going to put any special cars on it so it can hold 8 in one trip. And then we're going to go try to get that started in Hamburg and try to get eight wagons going out there. Now we're going to prioritize the mail. One reason being that you can get away with a less than full thing and get credit for a wagon. So, for example, if we have 41 passengers, that will be 2 wagons of passengers, even though it's just 1 more than you would have in 1 wagon, right? So, but it doesn't matter. It makes no difference. We're just trying to make sure we get fairly large loads going so that this thing can run and we can have this train just make that route as much as it needs to in order to get 18 units done. And somehow I don't missed what happened there, but it doesn't matter. I goofed it up somehow and lost the line. But there now we've got it. And I didn't even make the priorities. I just said run. And if you haul meat, that's fine. If you haul beer, that's fine. Whatever, just go. So it's hauling eight meat down through there, and we're just going to let this thing run until it's done. It should take a while. It's going to have to be 8 at Berlin. It'll take something to Danzig, but it probably won't be 8. Then it'll come back to Berlin. It probably won't be 8. So at any rate, it'll run till it's done, and that's how I'm thinking of it. I have experimented, by the way, with this and tried to run multiple trains with little side tracks. The game does not handle side tracks very well. You're better off either just running a single track or double tracking, biting the bullet and doing your gridiron and your double track. So I didn't want to go there. I didn't want the expense of that. Also, we're using these lines as dedicated lines. So we're just going to let that thing run. So now what I'm thinking about is the next task, which is an express line between Berlin and Hanover and Cologne. So we've got to work our way over to Cologne. I'm looking at research saying, okay, standardized components, the next thing we want to target, cheaper trains. And we're going to figure out, well, what's the best way for us to get a line that goes Berlin, Hanover, Cologne. And again, this is a throwaway in my opinion. This is a line that is for a very specific task to get that express line, and then we'll throw it away because it's not going to make good money. It's not going to be, it doesn't fit in our plan of how we like to do things, so we're going to throw it away, and that's how I'm thinking of it. But in the meantime, we've got a little bit of money. I'd like to have another money maker on our engine, so we're going to go ahead, since we had to open up to Gütersloh anyway, let's go ahead and start running trains, a train, that is, down to Gütersloh so that we can make some money that way. And I'm just trying to straighten it up so it's max speed and minimal elevation changes all the way, and it is. We just need some money to make that happen. And we'll get that line going, Gütersloh to Hanover, and expand our economic engine. Okay, so it's time to start putting in maintenance. And I've actually skipped a step, I forgot. We need supply depots. Now, I intentionally did not put supply depots on these lines at the start because I wanted to get them going and making money. Here's the screeching I was talking about when you get down close. Ouch. But what we need to do, we need both depots and maintenance. And after I did that maintenance, I looked at that and said, whoa, look, we're starting to get the oil problem. So we're going to go back in basically the order that we built these lines and add supply towers so that our trains won't have to suffer too long without supplies. And so that's what we're going to do now, is just go through all the lines, put on supply towers, and then we'll return to the task of putting on maintenance in Magdeburg and in Zelina Gora and in Hamburg. Actually, I think that's it. That'll take care of everybody for the time being. So I don't know, point in commenting on this. You can see what's happening. So our quarterly results came in 1.5 million, but remember, $1 million of that's bonuses. So we've got like a $543,000 a quarter, $543,000 marks a quarter revenue stream, well, I guess that's profit, isn't it? So it's not good. It's not good. We're going to do much better. We're going to keep growing, keep growing, keep growing. That's the name of the game. Well, actually, the name of the game is Railway Empire 2, but you know what I mean.
Unfortunately, there is still a great deal of apprehension among the population as far as the railroads are concerned. The newspapers regularly criticize them as dirty and too noisy. Can you imagine that? Luddites, all of them, if you ask me. So I'm particularly pleased that our efforts are helping to increase confidence, especially among ordinary people.
All right, so I considered this a throwaway task. So this is the completion of that 18 wagons on that Hamburg, Berlin, Danzig line. And we're just going to toss away the Danzig side of that, and use that money to help us get everything we wanted to get done, including I need Gütersloh needs maintenance, but want to get out here and get this Cologne line done. We've got Berlin, Hanover, Cologne, and we want it to run. It needs to be an express line, and I also consider this a throwaway because it's not something. I think I said this before. I'm not sure. It's not going to make any money. It's not an efficient way to run your lines. You don't want these long lines that are skipping a bunch of cities. It just doesn't work well. You want short lines that connect a bunch of cities together. One train running from A to B, and then another train running from B to C, and another train from C to D. And I'm keep repeating myself on that because some people keep getting confused about that. For me, it's little short lines are the best. So we're gonna set up a line here where we're going to actually take that freight line. I'm trying to find a way to get in there without totally messing up all my other lines, right? So what we're going to do is actually just take that freight station that's up there in Berlin and move the freight over to platform 2, at least temporarily, and use platform 1 to give us the ability to come out of Berlin. And we're just going to bypass Gütersloh and go up here to Hanover. And what we're going to do in Hanover is put in another station, because we don't want to mess up its connections either. So we're just going to put in another station that, again, this is temporary, and we're just going to set up a line that will connect those two, and then we're going to go down here and get access into the Rhine province, which is going to give us access to Cologne. And when we have that access, we'll set up a station in Cologne, and then we'll set up a line Berlin to Hanover to Cologne. And I'll talk about how we're going to set it up in a moment when we get there. But that way we can quickly get our express status and get that task done, and then throw away all this crap and get back to building properly designed systems. Okay, so to set up the line, we're going to set up an express line connecting the 3 cities, right? Because that's the requirement. And then we're going to just give them the caboose just to get the bonuses for the staff. But then we're going to say for each one of the cities, you don't take mail because that's heavier. And you only take a maximum of 1 passenger, right? We want small trains with our boosted employees working on them and moving quickly so that we can get our our express status very, very quickly and be done with it. So we're just waiting for enough money to get that going. Once we get that going, it's just a matter of it running. We're running one big loop, and we'll have our express status. And now we want to get our we got our research come at a bad time, clumsy time, because I had to give up that plan in order to go get that research for cheaper trains, but that's worth it. So now we can do this exact same line, but I'm going to have to dance this little dance again. Take off the mail, make a maximum of one train, one wagon. So we want no mail, express line, max one wagon at all three stops. And once we have a little bit of money, then there we go, fire that off, and that will fairly quickly, that will give us our fifth task to finish off our first block of tasks in this scenario. And in recording this, I got all the way out here, and here obviously I'm just restarting that Hamburg to Berlin line. We've got the track, we've got the buildings at the stations. We need to be making money from it. But I got out to here as I was editing this and realized, geez, it's so quiet, and I'd forgotten that I have to add music back in because I get these copyright violations when I play the game music, which infuriates me to no end. There's just no way that should be happening. There's no way that should be happening, but it is. So I'll at the end of this, I'll add music back in. As far as you know, there's been this bad music in there the whole time, but I do need the music just because I'm not in a professional studio. There is noise around me. I need some white noise to cover up, and so I will be adding music here after I get all this other stuff done. So now, while we're waiting on this, we don't need to just sit and twiddle our thumbs. We're making some money. Let's make some more money. Let's expand our economic engine. And since we don't know what's coming next, this is our first time playing the scenario, we're just going to do what any good player would do, I think. Keep going, keep building. So we're going to take Weimar and set up a line that goes out to Dresden. And use the exact same technique we've used for the other lines, with the automatic line running the three cars, prioritizing mail and passengers, and running on a dedicated platform at each end on a dedicated track.
In Cologne, the Deutz train station is connected to our network. With this, we have already linked the westernmost city that the plan has envisioned. With this success, the railroad has now arrived in German lands. It has been proven that it is not just an English fad, but that it is also able to add value to the mainland. Many a load of goods will be transported via this east-west connection. Our next step will be to move south. Beware. Unlike until now, we are not completely without competition there. The Saxon-Bavarian State Railroad is a failed private company that has recently been nationalized. It doesn't have much capital, but it maintains a solid connection to Munich. We should try and outcompete it.
Okay, looks like we need to get to the south, Königsberg, Posen, Katowice. We have to do some city growth. We knew that was coming. An express status between Berlin, Dresden, and Munich. Buy out a little bit of Madame Ward's company. That would be the one in Munich. And then we need an express status line, Zurich to Graz, University in Gütersloh, which means we have to grow Gütersloh to 90,000, and 24 cities that are connected by express lines. So that's a lot, but we'll connect a whole bunch of cities. I don't see any problem with that, particularly with the approach we're taking. And when I'm just looking over the map to think ahead, a line Berlin to Dresden looks like an obvious thing and will probably increase our traffic a lot. And here I realized that I'd forgotten one of my stations that was supposed to have repairs in Zelina Gora. So there's one or two trains impacted by that aren't getting. It'll be two trains. The Zelina Gora Breslau and the Zelina Gora Berlin line would both be impacted by that. So anyway, there you go. There's the first set of tasks done. I really enjoyed playing that. It's fun to get back to Railway Empire 2. I hope you're pleased with that choice. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope there's something in it that helps you become a better player. Hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe, and join us for our next Railway Empire 2 video. Thank you.